Okay, let's do it. So when you think about metazoan parasites, what are the two most important stages of development? Ova and adult. Okay? And how are the metazoan parasites classified? 3 S's. Sex, that doesn't mean do they have sex, they do. But it means do they have both sex organs in one organism, or do they have a male and a female gender, if you will. Okay? Shape, are they flat, are they long and flat, are they leaf-like, or are they round? Yep. Only the true round worms are real worms. The other guys are flat worms and they're not really worms. Okay? And then the last one is what? Huh? Segments. And some of these have segments, and some of them don't, and some of them have grooves. And the grooves kind of allow them to move like a snake would. Okay? Good? All right. So now we know all that. We can talk about them, right? So when we think about the Trematoda, they're flatworms. They're known as flukes. Almost all of them are monoecious. That means that they have both the male and the female sex organs in one organism. Monoecious, that means one having both sex organs. Yep. There is an exception to that. You'll see one exception, and that is the schistosoma, and you'll see that exception. The cestoda are also flatworms, but they're tapeworms. They're long, where the flukes are kind of short and stubby or leaf-like. The tapeworms are really long. I've seen one as long as 40 feet. Yeah, so they can be really, really long. They have a head, which we call the scolex, and the scolex can have suckers or they can have hooks and suckers, and I'll show you what those mean when we look at the adults in just a minute. And then the nematoda are the only true worms. They are round, right? And they have to be round to be a worm. So the nematoda, the ones that are dangerous, the ones we're going to talk about, have some cousins that aren't dangerous, like the earthworms. Some of you have ever picked up an earthworm and hold them in their hand and let them kind of roll around in your hand. You've not done that, Rachel? Oh my God. Oh, you have, okay. So my dog used to like to eat earthworms, right? It's a nice source of protein. My dog also ate poop. So that's fine. All dogs eat poop. To them, it's just hamburger. Yeah. Okay? So, all of the Trematoda and Cestoda are monoecious. There's one exception that we're going to look at. And all of the Nematoda are dioecious, and these have a male and a female. And the rule of the worm world is typically the female is bigger than the male because the female is gravid. That means she has eggs with her. Okay? There is an exception that we're going to look at. There are other exceptions, but we're only going to look at one. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Okay. One more time. Monoecious? Monoecious is one organism that has both sex organs. So they have testes and then they have ovaries. Yeah. Dioecious? You're dioecious. You're female. And there's males also. So dioecious are organisms that have a male and a female. Okay? One of them produces sperm, the other one produces egg or ova. Yeah.
So then the female is bigger than the male?
Almost always. There is an exception. There are exceptions. We're going to look at one exception. Okay?
Wait, can you explain why the females are?
Because they're gravid.
Gravid?
You've heard of that word?
Can you explain it?
So hey, y'all can work in the back of the room, okay? Yep. Oh, you're here for the test?
Yeah, but I'm gonna say.
You're after me. After I finish this, you're one. You're number one. Okay. So the term is gravid. It's a nice term for Scrabble. If you want to play Scrabble, let me know. I'll whoop you. But it means that the female has ova. Ova. They have fertilized ova. Okay. Anybody else have any questions before we go on? Okay, we're going to start with the Trematoda, right? Here's a list of the organisms you'll need to know. And remember, the rule is you need to know just the genus unless there's multiple representations. So here's one that has multiple representations. So you're going to have to know Taenia saginata and Taenia solium. Okay? So you're going to need to know Clonorchus, Fasciola, Schistosoma, Taenia saginata, which is the beef tapeworm, Taenia solium, which is the pork tapeworm, Echinococcus, Ascaris, Trichuris, Necator, Anaerobus, Trichinella, and Dirophyllaria. Okay? Hey, you've been asking for a memorization activity, and this is it. Well, not almost everybody. People would prefer to memorize than to try to learn. Yeah? And this is it. This is it.
I'm so sorry. I'm like dead.
You're so what?
Dead? And I can't.
Yeah, well, come sit here.
And they're asking me to let me sit. No, I'm not. You're good?
Well, you can come sit. Everybody can come sit over here. Y'all just feel free to come over. Bring a chair.
There's a seat over here too.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, I'm sorry. I wish we
No,
could.
no.
I wish we could be someplace else. Harlow, did you have a question? Representation.
Are you okay if we just write the first letter?
I'm not going to go against my own convention anytime. If science says you can use a T period solium, that is fair. Okay?
So can we do E period granulosum?
No, because you don't need to know granulosum. You need to know Echinococcus. Okay? Good? I thought this would be easier because now you don't have to know so many big words. Because y'all don't like big words, it appears.
Okay, so just to clarify, so we can just, if it's not like the Tania one?
Tania.
Tania one?
I said
If
I
it's not
can't
like
read.
repeated, then we can just say the genus.
Correct.
Okay.
If you're gonna write down Clonorchus, you just have to write down Clonorchus.
Okay.
You don't have to write down Sinensis. Now, I'm gonna tell you this already because I'm gonna tell you, two of you are gonna do this because you're just crazy like that. You're gonna do the Jeanette thing. Are you with me? The Jeanette thing is you're going to confuse these two words because they're very similar. Tinea is ringworm. That is different because that's what you said. It's Tania. No, it's Tania. Tania is a tapeworm. Do not confuse them. They will be wrong. Okay?
So are those three types
These,
like Trematoda,
those are classes.
of the tape?
No. The only class of tapeworm is Cestoda. Underneath them are the three different tapeworms. Okay? Good? Are you doing balancing? Can you do that with a basketball also? Rachel's like, yeah, I already have an A. I'm going to just coast. Yeah. I just need to make it 50. I'll be all right. Okay, anybody else? I don't know that that's true, Rachel, but it's somewhere around there. Anybody else have questions? Good? All right, here we go. So let's look at, I've color-coded everything because, I'm like that. I want to help you. This is Clonorchus sinensis. This is what the adult looks like. So these are the testes, right? That's the seminal vesicle and the ovary. This is the uterus. And in the uterus have a whole bunch of eggs. And all the eggs are fertilized. Okay? They have a little genital pore that releases them. But sometimes people want to know the anatomy of the organism. Would you like to be tested over the anatomy? Okay, that appears I got most head shake. That was a fast head shake. Okay, good. I guess we're not going to do that. So this is what it looks like, right? It is nothing else looks like it. Okay? And these are the ova. The ova to me look like a pumpkin seed, and I will say it looks like a pumpkin seed. It also has an operculum. An operculum is like a cap. But the operculum here comes to a point. It comes to an apex. Right? That's why it looks like pumpkin seed. Okay? Good. This organism will get into the liver and it'll cause all kinds of problems. We like to say it causes hepatic portal disease, but if you said it causes liver infection or hepatitis or biliaritis or whatever, that's all exactly what it does. Pick a word, use the word.
The ova. Or causes
No,
liver infection.
this guy. Remember, the ova is how it gets into the body. The adult is what causes the problem. Okay? Anybody have questions? Okay. Its cousin, right? This one is probably about 2 centimeters big. I have some over there if you want to look at them. This guy, its cousin, is huge. It would fit in the palm of your hand. It's that big, right? So now, if I say this is a very large organism, then you're going to know it's fascinating. It is probably the largest organism that is contained in one organism, right? It doesn't have segments. It's just flat. But the ova, some people will think it looks exactly like the one from Conorcus. I'm here to tell you it does not. It is much larger. It is oval in shape, and the operculum, it has a covering, a cap. The operculum is flat. So if I say the operculum is flat, you should be thinking fasciola. It causes the same kind of problems that Conorcus does. So it causes hepatic portal disease, hepatitis, whatever. The interesting thing here is you only need about 3 of these, and your liver doesn't work at all. It gets all beat up. Okay? Good? Yes? One more time? Yes. So if you jaundice, you will have all kinds of problems with the bowel not being able to receive what it needs to go. The liver will become non-functional and it's painful. As a matter of fact, when you first see it on the image, people think it's cancer. And then they go over and say, oh, it's not. So I am not aware of the liver does regenerate, but you can't really just go in there and just remove it. We typically kill it and leave it in place. Okay? But therefore, the liver gets scarred. And when the liver gets scarred, it looks like what's the word? Cirrhosis. So if you get cirrhosis of the liver, it's a lot harder because it. Anybody else have any questions? Okie dokie, here we go. Boom. So now we're talking about the big crazy. The big crazy is schistosoma. It's a fluke, it's the blood fluke. Its common name is the blood fluke. Okay? But it doesn't follow any of the rules of the wormhole. It's a trematode, but the male is larger than the female. So that means it has 2 different sexes. It has a female and a male. Okay? Good? So here is the male, it's the bigger thing, and the female crawls inside of him so that the female's eggs get fertilized. Okay? Here's another image of it. So this is a micrograph. This is actually showing a close-up. And so you can see the male is this big old gigantic thing. The female is inside of him. Okay? Good? I mean, it's kind of a cute little worm to me until you get it, and then it's very painful and you don't want it. Okay? And people get this mostly from walking in shallow waters where the organism is, and the immature form penetrates the skin and gets in, and then you're in trouble. Okay? The ova is distinct. It doesn't look like anything else. To me, it looks like a caption bubble. Okay? That's the way I remembered it. Right? One of my buddies took parasitology with me, said it looked like a shark because it had a fin. And I said, that does not look like a shark or any shark I've ever seen in my life, but it looks like a capture bubble. And he refused to go in the capture bubble, so I don't know what he did. Okay? So this one can get into the blood. It causes parasitemia. You can say it causes blood infections. I'm okay with that. Okay? Or if you want to be sneaky, if you put an osis at the end of it, schistosomiasis, that's the same thing. It causes schistosomiasis. Okay? You all do not look excited.
I think we're burnt out.
I think you're burnt out. That's what you get for taking too many classes. I'm working full time, and I have a full time boyfriend. Right?
He's alright.
He's all right. Okay. Don't be throwing things at me, Rachel. It's the content. It's not me. I just happen to know it. Anybody have any questions? You can see that it is color coded, so the male is the purple, pointy, the female is the blue, and then the ova is the red. Yep. There is a nice matrix for you all. Ladies, this is a memorization activity. There is nothing critical thought about this. Okay? I don't know how else to make you happy. I've tried everything. Okay? Let's go to the tapeworm. So on the tapeworms, you need to know a couple of things. Number one, you see that little thing right there? That's his head. We do not call it a head, we call it a scolex. Okay, you need to know what a scolex is. Okay? Then each of these segments is called a proglottid, and each of those segments has reduced forms of the reproductive and intestinal systems. Okay? So that means that each of those sections, each of those proglottids, can produce and fertilize their own ova. And they have a little bitty pore. You can see it right there. It's a genital pore, and therefore you can see that the eggs can be released, and they are prolific. When you get a tapeworm, you don't have just one, you have several. And if you let it go long enough, you're going to have a whole bunch of them. Okay? So for the most part, tapeworms don't really cause a lot of pathology unless they get out of the gastrointestinal tract, and they can do that. They can end up in the brain and all other kinds of places. Okay? So let's talk about the three representatives we have. The first one is Taenia saginata. This is the beef tapeworm. You need to know the common name.
Beef tape?
Beef tapeworm. Now, if you look at the ova, it is perfectly round and it's corticated. There are little bitty sections in every one of these. And I'm going to tell you that the organisms that I've selected, all the ova look exactly alike. You cannot tell them apart. So if I show you this and I say, what stage of development is this? You'll say it's an ova. And then I've asked, please give me a genus that produces this. You can either give me Taenia or Echinococcus. Okay? Good? Because they all look alike. The difference is in the scolex. So the scolex for Taenia saginata, this is the scolex. It only has suckers. Yeah? Okay? Easy to know, saginata only has suckers. Okay? Its cousin, Taenia solium, is the pork tapeworm. The ova look exactly alike, but the scolex has suckers and hooks. So now when the organism gets into your intestinal tract, it attaches itself by hooks and then affixes itself very tightly by suckers. And now they are not going to come off unless you paralyze them. And we can do that. We can take an antihelminthic drug, it will paralyze them, and out they come. Cats, a lot of times you can see the proglottids in cats, right? They get broken apart and they come out of the feces in cats. Okay? Good? Questions?
And this is another picture of it, right?
Yeah, and so this is kind of a close-up. And so you can see the suckers, but you can also see the hooks. Yes, Nikki? Corticated means like it has a lot of little tiny segments to it, right? So if I was to draw a corticated structure, let me draw the ova for you. The ova is perfectly round. It has a margin, but the protective lining of the ova is corticated. And what that means is it's got a lot of little segments in it. So that means it's corticated. Okay? Aren't the words just beautiful?
Sure.
So if you get mad at a friend of yours, you can just say you have a very corticated personality and just walk away. And then they won't know what you said, but you basically said you have a bunch of split personalities. Right?
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay? Anybody have questions? Hey, the ova looks like what? Like the other guy. You can't tell them apart. Okay? And here's the last one. The last one is the bad boy of the group, and it's tiny. It's little. Oh, well, actually, I have this comparison first. So, here you can see it only has suckers. What is it?
It is the teeniest sac.
And what's the common name?
Bee.
Bee.
Oh.
Here is the pork tapeworm, and then here is an artist kind of, you know, hey, take a look at this. I did a good job. And so you can see this one has got suckers and hooks. And what's the genus and species of that one? Taeniosolium. This one only has suckers. What's the common name? Beef tapeworm. Now we're going to the bad boy. Are you with me? Here he is. He's little. He's I don't know, he's about yay big. But he has a scolex that has hooks and suckers and 3 proglottids, but only the last proglottid, the one that is distal to a scolex, is mature. The other 2 proglottids are immature. But this thing can do some damage. It can infect every single tissue of the body. And to make it worse, these organisms form kind of this sac that's filled with the immature forms of Echinococcus. And the only way to cure you of that is to go in and surgically remove it. The problem is if the surgeon makes a mistake and he nicks the actual cyst, everything comes out. Now you have to be careful when you use the word cyst, because the word cyst in the protozoans means the protective state of how the protozoan gets into the body. Here it's a fluid-filled sac that has the immature forms of Echinococcus. Okay? This is the bad one. During the early stages of the AIDS epidemic, we were having young men who had these infectious agents in the brain. And we didn't know how to treat them. So we got a hold of some large animal veterinarians, because you typically see these things in wildlife or in cattle or things like that. And we asked them, well, how do you treat this? We call it cysticercosis. And they said, what do you mean how do you treat it? Well, how do you treat the cattle? We just shoot them, right? We kill them. Well, we're not going to do that to humans. But it's very painful. Don't pick this guy up. Okay? Good? Questions? Does that mean it stopped?
No.
That's good? Okay. Next. Now we're moving to the roundworms. These are the true worms. And so remember, these guys have a male and a female. And the rule is the female is what? Larger. Good. So here, is the female. You can see she's larger than the male. The male is tiny. The male is tiny. The female is tapered at both ends. Yep. That's a general theme for the roundworm. The female is always going to be tapered at the ends. Okay? The male has a little hook at the end. You see that? For amorous activity. Are you with me? If they're attracted to the female, they wrap themselves around the female. Are you with me? The ova, there's different ways you can look at the ova. I don't think it's fair for you to remember all 30 different kinds. I'm only going to show you this one. This is the fertilized ova. It's bumpy looking. Are you with me? Some people will say it looks like a tortoiseshell. Okay? I am never going to say it looks like a tortoiseshell, but I will say it looks bumpy. So bumpy is key for Ascaris ova. Okay? And this one causes intestinal blockage. So when they mate, they form a ball, and then they, interact with each other to form fertilized ova. But those balls, the interaction can cause intestinal blockage, which then can lead to a lot of pressure in the intestinal tract, small intestines. And then you have a perforated intestines, which means that a lot of things in our intestines get into the blood and it's hot. Okay? Question. All right. Moving along, we come to Trichuris trichura. This is the whipworm. And if they've got common names, you have to know the common names. It's called a whipworm because the body of the worm is about a third the size of the entire length of the worm. The other 2/3 are this long tail. Therefore, it looks like a whip. We call them whipworm. The female is still much larger than the male. Okay? So the giveaway is it has this long tail. It's a whipworm. Yep. Trichuris. Like a whip. That is correct. Okay? Think Indiana Jones. Okay, well, some of you are too young to even know who he is. But Harlow doesn't. Oh, you do? Okay. So, to me, the ova are very easy to distinguish. They look like a football or a lemon. Are you with me? But then they have a pore on both sides. Okay? That's the ova of Trichuris. Steph, what you looking for? Who? Oh, when you're in the cabinet. Okay? Anybody have questions? If you look at these things through an endoscope, right, or a coloscope, this is what you see. So you see the intestines, this is large, and you can see all of the whipworm all throughout it. This is a huge infestation of the colon of this particular organism. We can treat it very easily. We just give an antiemetic drug and they all die. And then they just start coming out. I mean, when you poop. Okay? Let me eat. Carl, you don't even know how to be a nurse. You're going to see poop every day in your life. And it's the worst poop ever. It's human poop. Questions? Well, no. We got to compost before we fertilize too. There's too many pathogens in it. Here we go. This is the bad boy of the group. This is Necator americanus. It is the hookworm, right? It has teeth. Look at it. And the teeth are used to affix themselves to the tissues that they are consuming. Rachel, you would make a nice meal for these things. Are you with me? This is the one that your granny probably told you, Harlow, don't be walking out there in the country barefooted, because these worms can penetrate the soft tissues between the toes, and then they get into your body. The larval form will do that. And they're painful. They can be anywhere in the body. Okay? The female is still much larger than the male. There's a female, there's a male, right? But the difference is the males have this kind of freely looking posterior. Those are called spicules. The spicules are what are used to deliver sperm to the female. Are you with me? So here you have these multiple spicules, right? I like saying the word spicule. I'll probably say it a lot, spicule. It is kind of fun. Okay? If I show you the anterior end, it's going to have teeth. And it's teeth, but not like teeth you and I think about teeth. It's teeth in the worm world. It's got a different type of structure. They're still hard. They can still bite. Okay? The ova, I'm always going to show you, it's oval in shape, and it's got a nice margin. And I will only show it to you with a nice margin. I won't make it hard just to kind of make it hard. I'm going to show it to you with a margin. And then inside of that, you can count the number of orbs that are actually undergoing growth. The worm is getting organized, if you will, in the actual ova. Okay? Necator americanus. And you only have to know what, Jeanette? You only have to know what? Yes, you are. You were snoring, and I was like, what's going on over there? You only have to know what? Necator. We're almost done. Here we go. This is my favorite of all of the roundworms. This is Interorobus. It's the pinworm. It's my favorite one because people always tell me they never had them when you've had them. You just don't want to. You've had them. It's very common. Almost all kids get them.
What do they look like, honestly?
I don't have any. They dried out and died. But on the skin, they don't look. They're probably about yay big. They're usually in the large intestines, at least the distal end of the large intestines. And when you're asleep or the kids are asleep, they come out of the anus, they lay their eggs, and then they go back in. Sometimes the female gets lost and crawls down your leg, and you wake up like, what is that? Ah, I got worms. Ah. So.
Are you for real?
Yeah, for real. This happened when my cousins came to visit me.
So you can see this.
Yeah.
I've never seen this. I've never had this.
If anybody has, you seen them? I can't imagine you as you're coming in contact with them. You probably faint because you can't even handle the smell. Okay. If anybody has pinworms, bring some in for Bree.
Who's gonna be bringing and having pinworms besides you?
I would do it, but I need some dirty kids around to have some, right?
Your niece is at points.
They live in Corpus.
That's dirty enough.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, the other really cool thing about this is they have an esophageal pouch, and that esophageal pouch is a giveaway to this organism. If you see the esophageal pouch, or if I say, hey, this is the esophageal pouch, it is Interorobus. Okay? Again, the female is much larger than the male, and she's tapered at both ends. The male has one spicule, not a bunch of them, just one. Okay?
To deliver the sperm.
To deliver the sperm. Correctamundo. Why is this hard? Yeah. Anybody else? Questions? The egg itself is the hardest one of them all. It doesn't have any real distinct characteristics other than it has a round side and a flat side. And I will say that. This has a round side and a flat side. What are you looking for now? You made a mistake. You got it. It's not right there on the desk? Uh-huh. Why are you jumping around like a rabbit? Hey, make a pinwheel out of it. You know what I'm talking about, Steph? Make a pinwheel. You know what I'm talking about? Bring it to me. Time for a minute. We're gonna make a pinwheel. So make a pinwheel. It has to be at room temperature before you knock it over. Just stick it in your armpit. Okay. So pick one of these areas and call it Steph. Or you can call it your boyfriend for, and then draw one line with the organism. Okay?
One line?
Has to be at room temperature. Thank you. In your back, Ali? Okay. So you can work in the back for now until we get done with this, and then y'all can move anywhere you want. All right, where was I? Egg. Any questions about the egg?
Flat side.
Ova? Okay. All good? We're almost done. Here we go. We got 2 more. Boom. The easiest one of them all. This is Trichonella spiralis. And I'm only going to show it to you embedded in muscle tissue. That's it. Because it's so much fun to talk about. So this one, you can see it's in striated muscle. This is a cyst. I got to be careful with the word cyst, right? Because in the protozoans, it is how it gets in the body. This is already in the body. It's formed a fluid-filled sac, and the immature forms are in the cyst. They get out, they start to eat your muscle tissue, and then you're in pain. Okay? This is a terrible infectious agent. I will not wish this on anybody, even if I didn't like you very much.
Diarrhea?
No. It mostly will mostly cause skeletal muscle infection. Now, if it gets into the intestinal tract, it can. But I'm only going to show it to you in muscle. Here it is in striated muscle. There it is, a different staining technique. And here it is in muscles that have been cut with a microtome. A microtome is a real sharp knife that will cut sections, and then you can look at the sections. Yes? Eating, no, well, okay. Pork gets a really bad name because, do you know why pork gets a really bad name?
Why?
Because the pigs eat everything. They will eat humans. They don't care. It's just food. And so because of that, a long time ago, we used to find these cysts in pork. The pork goes through some very rigorous kind of testing before it gets to the market these days. So mostly for us, we're going to see it if we eat wild game. Deer, bear, javelin, whatever. Okay? Good? There was a case where like people went to Alaska and they were going to go hunt reindeer, and a black bear came into their camp, and the guide shot it, but he didn't want the black bear to go to waste, so he made a big old barbecue and didn't cook it well, and like 20 people came down with trichinosis. That's what they said. I have never eaten it, and I probably won't because I want the bears to hang out. I don't want to eat them. Okay? Question. However, if they came into my camp and were going to eat me, well, then it's all. How fast can I reach the gun? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Any questions? The last organism, Rachel, because I can see you're flabbergasted by, oh my God, this is just not any fun anymore. Let me have anatomy again, right? Is the heartworm, Dirofilaria immitis. If your doggy has this many heartworms, he will die. Okay? You can have 1 or 2, maybe 10, but no more. And so you want to be careful. A good owner of a dog will make sure that their dog is treated monthly, preventatively, so they don't acquire heartworms. It's easy to treat larger dogs. For the little guys, you have to be real careful. You cannot put this stuff on the back because it will cause toxicity in them. They will tremble, all kinds of things, right? You have to be real careful with that. No chihuahuas, no pugs, Lhasa Apsos, all those little barky, little chatty dogs, do not treat them with the stuff on the back. Give them a little pill, okay? It's more expensive, but the dog will not be hurt. Yeah.
How do they get this?
So typically from the bite of a skeeter, but you can also pick it up from eating contaminated food.
So they eat like
Cats don't eat poop. You ever watch the cat eat poop? Never.
No.
They're way too clean. My cat will sit there and go, I still see some of the poop. I gotta cover it.
Yeah.
And then he gets mad if it just, he starts making a hole and covers everything. And then after that, the cats, by nature, like if they poop, they get out and they run around like crazy. Have you seen that?
Yeah, why?
Because it's their instinct. If they poop, they've left their scent. That means that some predator can come and find them. So they run around, like they would run like far. And so what they're doing is running around to try to get away from the predator. Huh?
She said her cat's broken.
I will not show you the heartworm like this. I will only show you the heartworm, the immature form in blood, and it looks like this. It is large. It's 20 or 30 times the size of an erythrocyte. Okay? This is not the mature form. It's immature. It gets bigger. Okay? Good?
Is this the one you can see when they poop it out?
If it's in the heart, it's not gonna leave the body by poop. The one you can see is ascaris. And sometimes ascaris, like you cough and it gets in your lungs, and then it comes out and it looks at you from the esophagus and say, "How you doing?" And then you're like, "Ah, I got a worm."
You saw that too?
I had patients that had that. I plucked it out and there was some tweezers. And then I shouldn't have showed the patient because then they fainted. But it happens sometimes. There's a lot of craziness that you're going to see in where you're going. I hope y'all are ready for it. Because I can tell from some of you, you're not going to be ready. Just the smells alone. Just the smells alone are going to get you. Right? Any questions? This particular slide is a little bit early. That comes on Tuesday. Right? Anybody have questions? You have the rest of the period and up until 2:15 to work on your unknowns. Maria wants to do her Exam Poo 101. So she and I will be sitting over there. Y'all can come and watch if you want.
Today's the last day to do it, right?
No, next Thursday is the last day to do it.
Oh, okay. But I want to do this one.
You can if you want to.
But I think there's a long line.
Oh, there's a long line.
Yeah.
What's the line?
I don't remember. It's huge. Whoever shows up. So those of you all who are done, Lisette and who? Oh, Nikki. Although Nikki's not going to leave. She likes the class too.